Hello, I'm Gary Schotten, and I'm sitting here in my machine shop. Um, we're faced with demands by our customers. Some of our customers give us last minute demands. Some of our customers give us parts that we have long-term projections to know what's coming up next and what they want. We work towards having very close partnership with our customers, so we pride ourselves in being able to respond to their every need. In this video, I'm going to talk about how we do some of those scheduling, how I've done scheduling myself in a previous business, and hopefully give you a few tips on things you might do to work with scheduling yourself. Now, I say scheduling in a business. I now carry with me a smartphone, and I have a calendar, and I'm constantly able to reschedule myself with a push of the button because I am using my device very efficiently, and I'll put something on my personal schedule, and with one phone call it will change and I can move that around, and I miss very, very few appointments. Sometimes I need to communicate when I have a conflict, but I don't miss very many appointments. And by the way, I'm not very, very seldom I late to an appointment because I think that's important. Now, for about 17 years, I owned a trucking company, and in specific, it was a company where we moved furniture. And that meant we had trucks with drivers, but it wasn't a driving job as much as for the workers. It was stopping at the front of a house in the United States, and we would go through and load every single thing in that house into the truck, expecting it not to be broken, expecting it to arrive to the new house and being unloaded in that house without damage and on a reasonable budget and a reasonable time frame. I'm telling you, it was pretty difficult. And one of those things that we had to do was schedule, because a lot of our customers didn't want to move when we wanted them to move. They wanted to move at the end of the month because that's when their rent or their payment was up. So we had a whole surge of people that wanted to move in the last 4 or 5 days of the month. But in the middle of the month, we weren't so busy. So we tried to balance that off when we could. But when it came down to it, I had to decide many times myself, I had helpers, to decide, can we take on more jobs? Can we take on more jobs based on the schedule? Can we be sure that we'd be able to take care of our customers? If we took too many jobs, then somebody's going to get it shorted. So I had to communicate, and I did communicate with our lead people, the people on each truck, because they're out away from my office, away from my home base. And I said, you've got to communicate with me. You just have to. So one of the keys would be communications. Am I getting clean, clear communications from everyone that's involved with the scheduling process? That's everyone's responsibility. So here's what could happen without communications. Occasionally it did, and I would pretty well have a pretty stiff talk with somebody, because we would need to know if we sent out a crew that we're expecting this job to be a full household, going to take 10 hours, it's going to be a full day, and if I haven't heard from my crew, then I'm expecting that went on fine. I couldn't have this, and it happened a few times. End of the day, 6 o'clock in the evening, our driver comes in, and as he walks in, he says, oh, by the way, we need to be out there again tomorrow because they have much more for us to do. We're going to have to be there another full day. And I'd go, no, you can't do that to me. You knew at noon, you knew at 10 o'clock, you knew way before driving all the way back there and telling me that you're going to have another day on that job, because I don't have the manpower. This truck is going to the other customer. Or the opposite could be true. I'm pulling out my hair, trying to rearrange jobs, get people in town relocated, cover jobs, and the driver and team that we had out that we thought was going to be out all day would come in a little before noon, like 4 hours into a 10-hour job, and say, job went well, they moved everything, we're done now. No, you gotta tell me. You gotta tell me, because I'm trying to schedule. Let's apply it to our machine shop, okay? we're working hard at getting scheduling. It's not just the plant manager's responsibility. It's everyone in our company's responsibility. First of all, we have a time allotted for a job. If we're not able to meet that time, we're working towards making sure that every one of our machinists knows it's important to try to make that time because of scheduling and other things, profitability, but also because we have another job behind that and we don't know how our schedule adjusts. So we're just into it. We hope it's going to work out, but we're having our machinist email us to tell us if they're behind schedule, because we're planning that machine for the next job. They don't know it, but we might have a hot job, an expedited job come in that we must get on the machine. There's only one part can run on that machine at one time, so we want to finish the job before we do to the next job. It's all dependent upon communication. The other key word would be flexibility. Yeah, we need communications, but even with good communications, I've got to have some kind of latitude or flexibility. I'll give a quick example. I was flying about 2 months ago, and I was boarded my airplane in one hub city, and it was a pretty tight connection. As we got off, we saw everybody exit, and then we hear the unappreciated or unwanted announcement. I'm sorry, folks. The plane that we planned you to load onto is now called out of service. There's something mechanically wrong with it. Well, none of us want to get on an airplane that's going to crash, something mechanically wrong, so we are glad they caught it, but we're thinking, oh my goodness, we're going to be a long time waiting. No, this company had scheduling in mind. They then announced that they would have another airplane at that port, at that gate in 15 minutes, that they'll pull the one airplane away with a tug and then pull up the another airplane. They are thinking schedule. Follow me? Well, that didn't actually happen. It must have worked better, because about 5 minutes later they said, we've changed our plans. If you'll move 2 gates down to the other gate, we already have a plane there and you can start boarding the plane now. By the time we got on the plane, we actually made up almost all of the time, even though the plane we were going to board was malfunctioned. Wow, I'm interested in flying with that airline because they've got scheduling down pat. We're working on scheduling. You're going to many people have to working on scheduling. If you're in the restaurant business and you've got to have your meals all out to the customer at a given time, that cook has to schedule what he's going to cook first and make sure no one wants to be at the table and somebody gets one meal and they're totally finished eating, and the next plate comes for the other part of the, what kind of a honeymoon was that? What kind of a date out with your girlfriend if you eat all of your food first, get totally done, wiping off your face, and then your wife or girlfriend, their plate sets down? That's a scheduling issue. We face it. All of us face it. If you want to rise to the top, if you want to be the best company that you possibly could be, if you want good sales, repeat customers, you will deal with scheduling. Unless you just have some kind of business that doesn't matter at all and you're making tons of product ahead of time and you're wasteful, that's what I would call it, scheduling is going to be important. The 2 key words, communications is vital, and flexibility, a backup plan. I hope you've enjoyed this. I would ask that you would consider sharing this with someone else if it's valuable to you, and then give us feedback, give us comments, let us know how we can improve this. We're trying to present teachings that are acceptable and true on a global nature and globally true with multi-cultures and multi-languages. Thank you very much.